This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 149. I'm your host, Adam the Jock Strozinski, and on today's show, we do have a death of a WWE superstar as well as a WCW superstar. What's going on with Lance Archer? We've got the details on that, as well as some poking and prodding of good old Jim Cornette. Of course, we're going to take a preview of Clash of Champions because, hey, all we do on this podcast is review and preview pay-per-view events because, I don't know, Doc needs another monstrous lead on me, as well as taking a look at what is going on around the world of wrestling with all the major brands that are out there. At this time, I'd like to welcome in the one, the only. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
I promise you, this edition of Retribution will be much better than what you got on WWE, cuz. I mean, it's good to have you back. I did take a week off of watching all of professional wrestling, but I mean, when I got back into it, in terms of WWE, they didn't do a whole heck of a lot in terms of Monday Night Raw. Smackdown, on the other hand, has been putting together a little bit of a nice run here of storylines and interesting angles, the better situation. Raw is in the toilet. I mean, I don't know if Bruce Pritchard's like, dude, it's the weekend, it's Monday, I just got to kind of free flow, and then he gets into his rhythm. And then by Friday, the peak writing skills take place, and then the show's a lot better. But whatever's going on Monday Night Raw is terrible. And when Retribution finally kicks off their angle and we got to see what this was over a period of time, quite disappointing. And the internet just destroyed everything about Monday Night Raw. So let's start on a positive note, man. SmackDown was pretty decent.
Yeah, SmackDown has been really, really good the last couple weeks, and I think it's probably WWE's number one show. And look, I think what makes it so compelling, and I think what makes it so interesting, and makes it completely different than Monday Night Raw as well as NXT, is you have multiple storylines that can grab your interest. So you've got Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, which I think is great, and you're getting a lot of really good character development with Roman Reigns, as well as with Paul Heyman being in his corner. You've also got Sami Zayn coming back. He's trying to opine for his Intercontinental Championship, and he's in this chase with AJ Styles, who we both agree is phenomenal, right? That's why he has his name, as well as Jeff Hardy. And then you've got Alexa Bliss, who is slowly turning to the Fiend side, where she's under this trance, this basically possession by the Fiend. And you have all these storylines going on at one time in this broadcast, and I think it's what helps draw you in, and I think it's what helps give multiple layers of interest, because it's not just one storyline that is dominating. I think the Roman Reigns Jey Uso one is probably the one that's in the forefront, but you have all these other storylines that are going that are very compelling and are really, really good, which I think leads me to this question. Which one are you most interested in right now?
Absolutely. I'm curious with what's going on with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. I want to see how that plays out. I definitely love the situation going on with Sami Zayn. I think that his comeback has really spoken to a character that has found maybe a little bit of a rhythm with a little bit of a backing from the writers. I think his promos are good, and I do think that over time, some characters, you come to expect that, hey, when he's out there, you're curious. You may not like what he says. You may not be fully on board with his gimmick, but at least he draws your attention. And then the storyline with AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy, I think that the whole IC title situation is really intriguing. So I'm a fan of how this has all played out. So for me, I really like what Sami Zayn has done. And don't forget, the dude can flat out wrestle. And I think that his character development on the mic and his persona that while at first maybe it took a little bit of time to warm up to, I like what Sami Zayn's doing.
Yeah, I think Sami Zayn coming back has really helped flush new blood into the Intercontinental Championship race. For me, I think the character development with Roman Reigns, this is something that everybody has been begging for. They've wanted Roman to go heel. And what you're getting now is you're getting what you've asked for. And you're seeing it's little nuances, right? It's little subtle things, like when they're up at the top of the ramp and Jey Uso raises Roman's hand and Roman just kind of looks at him with this disgust in his face and then kind of snatches his belt back. It's little things like that really help you buy into this character and this character transformation. On top of that, these two guys can both flat out wrestle in the ring, right? And they're both giving each other a bit of a rub here, which I think is fantastic. For me, I'm most bought in on this Roman Reigns Jey Uso storyline. I think it's great, and I think it might be the one that is probably going to be the best in-ring demonstration of talent at Clash of Champions. Now, I know you can make the argument that Sami Zayn, who can flat out wrestle, AJ Styles can flat out wrestle, and Jeff Hardy is an absolute madman, especially when ladders are involved. I think you can make the argument that one's going to probably steal the show, but I'm most hunkered down and I most want to sit in my seat and watch the Roman Reigns Jey Uso match. And I think SmackDown has been doing a fantastic job with getting these storylines over. The one thing I don't think SmackDown has done a very good job of is the whole situation with Otis and his Money in the Bank. Like, for a time there, I totally forgot he was the Money in the Bank holder. I forgot that he even had it. And now they're kind of bringing this back and they're working it in full circle. I want to know, do you believe that Otis has a legitimate shot to cash in his Money in the Bank chance and actually win the belt?
No, I think that once Mandy got traded, it kind of derailed a little bit of his momentum. But yeah. I do think that he's got a nice personality. I think that him having it's kind of like one of those deals where you kind of get a sense that he's going to get a little bit more of a push, a little bit more of an emphasis, and that's fine. But is he really over on his own without the push? That's the key question mark. Is now that you got the opportunity, you got to go out there and perform and keep growing your brand and persona. And I think he'll do that. But yeah, absolutely. I think that he's been de-emphasized, and it's really weird too, because it's one of those deals where for no good reason, you kind of curtailed an angle in a storyline that could have been flushed out a lot more. And for whatever reason, and I think our biggest complaint with the WWE product is that wrestlers are getting pushed and then de-emphasized at weird times, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's like, if the fans really want it, then I'm going to yank it from them. And if the fans really hate it, then in certain situations, Vince is like, boom, I'm going to feed it down your throat. And I think that's kind of what the crazy Vince is operating from. It's like, okay, I'll keep drawing controversy from just doing exactly the opposite of what people want. And I think that it's fine. I get the strategy, but it wears thin because a lot of people are just like, dude, I'm not going to invest anymore. I'm not going to hey, if my podcast partner goes on vacation, I'm not going to even bother to watch because it's not worth it. And that's what happens when you keep yanking and basically, we need a run of a month or so of decent content and pushing people that are faces that kind of tell us what's going on in AEW. You see new people in title matches, you see new opportunities, you see fresh debuts. You need debuts where people are like, yes, as opposed to, God, no, when's this going to end? And SmackDown's benefiting from 2 hours. Raw is not. And now we're going to have to talk about it. But yeah, emphasizing Otis would not be a bad thing going forward.
Yeah, it's weird. It seems like everybody has this herky-jerky stop-start momentum. And as a fan, if you're just a casual fan, not somebody who watches this stuff like we do religiously, it's hard to kind of get attached to a character, and it's hard to buy in because one week they're getting a push, next week they're not. And the storylines are so disjointed sometimes that it becomes really hard to follow and frustrating all at the same time. Something that was incredibly frustrating, Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was absolutely horrible. This might have been one of the worst Monday Night Raws. And we've said this quite a few times, but it feels like WWE just doubles down on how bad they can make Monday Night Raw. And for me, the thing that really kind of irked me and pissed me off was the Retribution storyline. This was something that we've talked about a couple different times on this podcast. And there were a couple times where it was left on the cutting room floor where we wanted to work it in and we wanted to discuss it. We just had other things that we had to get to because every time we turn around, we've got a pay-per-view that we've got to discuss. And I think the Retribution storyline is classic WWE failing at pushing a story that I think a lot of people were kind of into, or at least had potential and a lot of promise, because you were bringing these wrestlers in and they were destroying everything, right? And the whole thing was, you guys are going to pay for what you've done in the past. And then what happens is they basically bring these guys in and the announcers announce that they've signed contracts. So you've got people destroying your property who you're not paying to destroy your property. You then bring them in, pay them to then destroy your property, and then you unmask these people. And for me, a guy like Donovan Dijakovic and Mia Yim, these are fantastic wrestlers who don't necessarily need to be in this group and don't necessarily need to be wearing these stupid masks. And then you double down on all of this dumb stuff by giving them stupid names like Slapjack. Like this was just one of the most horrid botches that you've ever seen. Like Nexus was done, started off well, and then Nexus just imploded, right? This could have been a much better version of Nexus, and you screwed it up from the get-go. The rumors around the mill are that people, WWE superstars, were laughing at the televisions in the back when this whole thing was unfolding because it's that stupid. It's that dumb, and you can't buy into it. You just took really good wrestlers from NXT. You brought them up, and you've dressed them up with an absolutely ridiculous gimmick, and you're like, here, go make this work. And then it's going to fail because of the way you're pushing it. Like this was just absolutely brutal, man. It was horrible. They screwed everything up with another storyline that you really could have enticed some fans. Like, I mean, we talked about bringing CM Punk back and putting him as the leader of this. And we were like, man, that would be mind blowing. Like, we were all in on it, and you didn't do it. You could have taken a guy like Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali could have been the leader of all this because Mustafa Ali had a nice little run. Then he got hurt. Kofi Kingston comes in, and next thing you know, he's the WWE championship or the WWE champion. And Mustafa Ali never got his shot back. Never got his that could have been the overarching issue with all of this. And Retribution could have been his group, his gang that he was pushing. Yet you do what you do, and it's just a dumpster fire.
Man, was it bad. It's like, did you see the meme on the internet where they go, it starts out with, oh, you don't think I can ruin 5 NXT debuts? And you got Vince going, watch this. And then you got all 5 Retribution members in the ring. And Vince going, ha, 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 ha. He just killed 5 careers in one moment. You can't take the stench off of these wrestlers. And sometimes people are so desperate to get on Raw that they will actually just do stuff that is just ridiculous. I would never have signed off on this. If you're a wrestler and you're like, I'm going to call you Slapjack, and you see that this is going to be the situation, and you go, man, do I really want to sell out for money? Do I really want to sell out for this? And you go, hey, if he's going to put some money in my pocket, I'm going to get some airtime. I think some of these guys' egos makes it so they go, you know what, this is god awful, but if I make it over, then I'll get respect. And then I'll move forward. So I can't find really any silver linings in it. It's awful, and it's a big letdown because it was supposed to be built up to be this huge thing, and it's a dud. And it could be such a dud that WWE moves on from this in a month. You give them a one angle, and you move on. This is a dud, and can you find anybody that likes it? I can't find a single soul that said, wow, this is cool. And it's a dreadful scenario highlighted by an entire Raw that was a miss. The entire show was a C- show.
Something else that was a miss was the whole Seth Rollins segment too. How many times are we going to put Rey Mysterio and his paternity test on trial? Like, Seth Rollins saunters down to the ring, and he's holding papers in his hand, and they are apparently DNA paperwork showing that Dominic is not Rey Mysterio's kid. Again, like, we've done this once already. We did this, almost 20 years ago, and even Ray's like, what are you doing? Like, we've already been through this. And then they start to put it on Ray's daughter, Aaliyah. And this company is so hard-pressed for fresh new ideas and trying to constantly reinvent the wheel that they always fall back into these dumb, tired stories that they've built up years ago that at the time it was okay. And then it got really old really, really fast. The whole Dominic, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio triangle. You don't need to bring this back and do this again. You know, this was another awful segment. Seth Rollins in the Rey Mysterio and in the Dominic Mysterio angle has to die. Like, Seth Rollins has beaten Rey Mysterio and his kid now, 3, 4, 10 times? I don't know. I've lost count because he constantly gets wins over them. Like, let's just move on. Put Dominic in another angle, put Rey in another angle, and let Seth Rollins go do something else. And then to top all this off, you've got Buddy Murphy, who I think we both agree is a really good talent. You've got Buddy Murphy, who's 29, 30 years old. Ray's daughter's like 19. You've got them in this weird pedo angle in the back where Buddy Murphy is like approaching her all awkwardly and she's all awkward. And it's just awkward and it's uncomfortable. Like, these people are over 10 years apart in age, and you're going to have this guy hitting on this girl. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is a total Vince angle because he gets off on this weird shit. Like, it's just, dude, Raw was absolutely horrible. And then you add this on top of it. It was like the icing on the cake. It was just so bad. Do not waste 3 hours of your time watching Monday Night Raw. I just wanted to gouge out my eyeballs.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's the writing that's stale, and it's not worth it. It's a C- show. If you missed it, you didn't miss really too many highlights. It was a show that you say to yourself, okay, Raw is headed in a direction that you can pay attention to the top stuff. You look at Drew McIntyre, you look at Keith Lee, Randy Orton. Outside of that, they got a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about what you liked about Impact this week. Maybe there's something redeeming and something that could save us on a Tuesday night, because what we got on Monday night was like getting jail sex with zero Vaseline. So was there anything redeeming about what was on Impact? Give us your Impact review.
Yeah, ahead of Bound for Glory, Impact kind of took a turn and highlighted the women, which I think you and I have both said that, hey, you got to do a better job of highlighting some of these talented women. And I think the show overall was a lot better than in recent weeks. I think that the fallout from the Rich Swann and Eric Young announcement played out. You had this really quality, segment where they go from vignette to highlight EC3 and you highlight Heath. And I think that it was really, really well done and kind of segued between matches really well. So I think that, some of the women that are getting highlighted definitely have made some great moves. Susie, Kylie Ray, Kimberly, Deonna Purrazzo. I think that highlighting some of these women and giving them time in these matches was a lot better. And I thought that in weeks past, you and I had both critiqued and heavily said, man, some of these matches are not good. But they gave them time and they gave them a lot better opportunities. And I felt like, then you had the veterans in the mix there. Rob Van Dam defeating Sami Callihan was a good match, even though both you and I say, okay, some of his better years are behind him. Rob Van Dam has found a little bit of a niche place there. And this feud now with Sami Callihan is good and kind of has some layers to it and is very interesting. I thought the best match was Jordynne Grace versus Tennille Dashwood. I thought they told a good story, and always good to see Dashwood get some victories. And it's good, too, because I think what we're kind of going away from in WWE is some more of that physicality, like that toughness. The Asuka angle, on Raw was pretty bad and pretty brutal. And Asuka's been having some uncharacteristically bad matches that are rushed and not as physical. This Dashwood Grace match was hard hitting and it was cool. It was good. And it was another feud that kicked off that's going to be evolving. So for me, the women got the Impact show was a B+, and it was good. And if you can get some of these women over, really truly over to highlight, some of the top end stars, Impact's worth watching. It's really good. You're starting to round out a show that's worth watching every Tuesday night. You pay attention to it. If you're gonna, fight for Raw, maybe switch over and cut out half of Raw and peek into an hour at Impact. It was good.
How long until Tennille Dashwood is challenging Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Women's Championship?
I think she needs this feud, one more solid feud, and then give her an opportunity. I think that she's definitely in the mix to be a title holder. She's got the look. She's got it all. She's got the experience. Just needs some good writing, some good character development. And as long as Impact keeps moving along, there were not really too many things that I did not like.
It's really good that she found her place, especially after what happened in WWE. I thought the Emelina character was stupid. It didn't really fit her, and she was uncomfortable doing it. And I thought her character as Emma was much better. And if they would have just given her the reins to kind of run her own character, I think she'd have did just fine. So I'm happy that she's kind of landed on her feet and she's in a much better place now. Let's transition over to what we got on Wednesday night with NXT. So you have, with Clash of Champions coming up on Sunday, you have a ton of different gauntlet matches, and you've got a ton of number one contender matches, and just a bunch of matches basically setting up this upcoming card that's taking place on Sunday. And The winner out of the men's number one contender match is Kyle O'Reilly. And I'm not 100% sure I can buy into Kyle O'Reilly as the credible challenger for Finn Balor's title. Now, what I can tell you is out of the guys who are in this match, I think Kyle O'Reilly is probably the biggest household name because he's in Undisputed Era. But I've watched Kyle O'Reilly in ROH. I've watched some of Kyle O'Reilly's independent work. Kyle O'Reilly, for the most part, is a very successful, mid-card and very successful tag team wrestler. Him as a singles challenger, he's had some decent runs in ROH, but he was always much better with Bobby Fish. And I don't know if I can buy into this particular match at Clash of Champions because I just don't know if he's going to be able to take Finn Balor to that limit. I think this is a match where he can get a little bit of a rub from Finn, and like Finn can really put him over and really help solidify Kyle O'Reilly. But going into this match, I'm having a hard time buying this.
Yeah, me too. That's what I put on my notes, mid-card. So I obviously understand it's an attempt to move somebody from where they were to the next level, and it's a test. Let's see how he does, but at this point in time, you and I both don't believe it, and it's the fair assessment. He's got to actually shine with Finn Balor because Finn will help and aid him to get him over, but he's got to do his thing. And let's see now that he's gotten an opportunity what he does with it.
So on AEW, I thought AEW did a pretty good job. I thought their show was okay. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was fantastic by any means. You did get Miro's debut, so formerly Rusev. You got his debut. I want to know what you make of his debut because I think I'm going to be maybe overly harsh. I'm not sure. What did you make of Miro's debut?
I thought it was okay, exactly. And I think I get where you're coming from is that you got this guy who's talented, and yet you don't maybe fully give him the opportunity to highlight exactly what he does. So you can't live in the past. You have to evolve. You have to make the character that you're seeing in the present day do his thing. And so for Miro, it just kind of appears like, okay, we're doing some things that are similar that we've seen, and we need a little bit of growth. We need a little bit of something different, a little bit of a splash of, hey, this is a new character going in a new direction. So for me, I would have put him in more of a main event situation, but I understand what they're doing with the current angle that he's in. But I think you and I both are probably in the camp that says, hey, you got this talent that's kind of over. Maybe you could light the flame just a little bit brighter and put him more toward the back of the show.
Yeah, I look, him with Kip Sabian doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This match against Sonny Kiss, who at certain points JR was referring to him as a her, which was a little bit confusing. Now, like Sonny Kiss is kind of this transgender. Obviously Sonny Kiss is a guy, but he dresses up in drag and he looks very, very feminine. During this match, they were referring to him as a her. That was weird. Joey Janella was in this match, and I felt like the entire match was very sloppy. I felt like it didn't do a good enough job getting over this brand new character that everybody knows from this other company, and that everybody, when he debuted, everybody was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread and cheese on a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And then what you get is you get this clunker of a match that really didn't highlight anything he does well.
Right.
And he looks like he's in fantastic shape. Like he looks like he is in phenomenal shape. And for you to basically saddle him in this match with, look, if you want to help get Kip Sabian over by giving him the rub off of Miro, fine. I don't necessarily mind that. I don't really like that storyline, but whatever. Putting him in this match with Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, you want to get them a rub off of wrestling with him? Fine. That's okay too. Let him go out there and actually wrestle, though. He was in the ring for probably all of 3 minutes.
Right. Of
what was, I think, probably about a 15 to 17 minute match. And he had a finish move. That was basically it. It wasn't anything to write home about. It was bad. It was poorly done in my estimation. So I just didn't like his debut. Now, what did get me to pop was the return of Cody Rhodes. Now, I thought AEW was kind of in this weird little lull as Dynamite kind of stretched on. And then you got to this Brody Lee match. And Brody Lee ends up beating Orange Cassidy. And that was sad because we all love Orange Cassidy. But all of a sudden, the lights kind of go down. You get this really cool display on the screen. You get a little bit of a fog. You get a little bit of pyro. And I couldn't piece together what was actually taking place at the time. And then Cody's music hits. And then from this smoke and this fog emerges a guy who doesn't look like Cody Rhodes looked. Now, he just dyed his hair. He went back to his dark hair, what you had when he was Stardust in WWE. But he came back with a vengeance. Like, his persona was totally different. Him coming back I just got pumped, dude. I was like excited. I was like, oh my God, this is great. Now, Cody Rhodes hasn't been on TV for roughly 5 weeks. You've seen Dustin get taken out by Brody Lee. You've seen Brandy Rhodes get taken out by parts of the Dark Order. You've seen basically the whole Nightmare family get decimated by Brody Lee. Cody Rhodes comes back and he looks reinvigorated. I don't want to say he looks like a different character because all he did was dye his hair. He basically went from like early Eminem with blonde hair to like later Eminem with dark hair. That's basically all you've got. But there's an intensity about him, and there's this aura about him, and it's like when Daddy comes home, he's ready to feast, and let's just kick ass, and let's take names, and let's just roll. I was pumped up when Cody Rhodes showed up. What happened when he showed up on your television screen?
Absolutely. I found myself popping. It was good. I loved everything. I can't add too much more than what you said, other than I don't like his look. I thought his other look was just better. He could have came and did the exact same thing, aggressive, do his thing, but the dark-haired look makes him, yeah, I get it. It does add the appearance of being a psychopath, but I think his best look to be taken seriously as a pro wrestler was the same look. He looked tough with the blonde hair. He looked like a dude. So the outfit change and the gear, I get what he's doing, a little bit more of a darker side. So it's a character change, and he's trying to constantly evolve. But the hair, not for me. But other than that, it was good. Now you get your retribution. You got your 5 weeks off. Now you go and handle this feud with Brody Lee, and you handle your business. Good stuff. Great storytelling. For me, I loved the Eddie Kingston promo. It was the highlight of the week. You went right to the champ and said, look, you sold out. You went to the land of sports entertainment. And I loved everybody's response. Everybody's response on Twitter was, dude, just give this guy a mic for 2 hours and I'd listen.
Oh, dude, he is fantastic. When he shows up and he cuts a promo, I stop everything I'm doing.
You listen.
He is so good on the mic. It's
amazing.
Crazy.
Now, the match, his wardrobe needs to kind of reflect where he's at. He kind of comes to the ring looking like a jabron. So he got the singlet.
I said the same thing. I was like, this man's out there in gym shorts and tennis shoes.
The singlet.
Looking like he's like at a barbecue.
No. You got to kind of do something. Maybe pants, something different. Kind of AEW. Kind of give the man a check. Come on, just give him a check, not an appearance fee.
Get some new wardrobe.
Yeah, tell him to look more like a badass. Yeah, but the match was good. John Moxley retains. I like the Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy developing feud. So good stuff all the way around. AEW was the best show of the week. It was an A- show. That's what A- for me, hands down.
All right, so Sunday we've got Clash of Champions. So real quick before we get into Clash of Champions, I just want to comment on Brody Lee's promo after the whole thing with Cody. Mm-hmm. He brought up Brandy Rhodes in Thirst Trap. He brought up a god awful neck tattoo. Brody Lee had me dying with his promo because. He went after some things that they're just real life. And he said a lot of things that I think a lot of people think. So I just want to give kudos to Brody Lee on that promo because it was great. Anytime you can work in the word thirst trap, I'm all about it. Now, Clash of Champions on Sunday, because every single time we do a show, we got to do a damn pay-per-view. Yeah. And Doc's got to get more points on me. So at this point, I am down a whopping, I don't think anybody has ever trailed this much in a predictions preview as far as results go. I am down 5 whole points. This is nuts because you can get half points in all of this. And like if I was the half point you all the way to wherever, I would still never ever catch up to you. I need to put a string of victories together here. And you know what? I'm telling you right now, it starts today. It starts with this awful pay-per-view that will be Clash of Champions. Okay? So I've already gone through and I've already made all of my selections before you're even going to pick. Normally, I kind of do this on the fly with you. No. I took some actual time and I was like, let's think about this. There's like 2 that I'm kind of 50-50 on, but I've already got all my stuff picked. So, Universal Championship, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso. I have a feeling I know who you think is going to win this match. And it's probably the same guy I think is going to win.
No doubt. It's 100% Roman Reigns. No doubt about it.
So I'm saying we're in lockstep right off the bat. All right, so WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton in an ambulance match. Now, this match is interesting. I don't know if we're going to pick the same person, and I could almost see it going either way. I will say this much. I am probably 60-40 for the guy that I picked, and that's why I picked him. Who are you going with?
No, I'm going with the champ. Drew McIntyre still needs to have this title. There's more feuds to have. Randy Orton does not deserve it. I think it's a great feud, but at the same time, McIntyre has to leave this Clash of Champions with the title.
I picked Drew McIntyre as well. Again, 60-40. I think Drewy Mac comes out the victor in this. Now, the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley versus Nikki Cross. She just had Alexa Bliss kind of turn on her. She was possessed by the Fiend, and she ends up hitting her with a sister Abigail. There was a number one contender match for this. Nikki Cross wins it. Who do you have in the Bayley Nikki Cross SmackDown Women's Championship match?
Now, me personally, I think it'd be great and it'd be a huge pop if Nikki Cross were to win it, but there's no way Bayley loses this match. There's be some kind of way she cheats to get her way, so give me Bayley.
I'm going with Bayley as well. Like you said a couple weeks ago, Vince McMahon thinks that's good shit, so we're going to stick with Bayley. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. We've got Nia Jax, who's an absolute dumpster fire, and Shayna Baszler, who has weird eyebrows and kind of freaks me out, versus the Riot Squad, who I really like. Who do you have winning this?
I think we're starting to see the cracks of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. The Riot Squad deserves the title, so I have to pick some title changes, so give me the Riot Squad.
So I'm sticking with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on this one. I don't think they fall apart yet. I would love it if the Riot Squad wins, and this might be the tipping point, and this might be where you actually snatch another W from me. But I'm going to go Nia Jax, and I'm going to go Shayna Baszler for the win in this match. Now, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro versus Lucha House Party. Who do you have winning this one?
The tag champs retain, baby. Nakamura and Cesaro. Got to keep it going.
I've got Nakamura and Cesaro winning this as well. I think it would be a huge pop if Lucha House Party won this, and I think it would be something different. And this is one of those matches where it's kind of 50-50 for me, right? Because I don't think Vince nor the WWE writers really buy into Nakamura, and I don't think they buy into Cesaro. I don't think they buy into Lucha House Party either. Again, you need to have a title change. This could be one where I could see going either way. I just don't know if Lucha House Party is that credible as a tag team champion. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. You've got Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn. We've already talked about the work that Sami Zayn has been doing. This is for the Intercontinental Championship. It's a triple threat ladder match. This is one of those matches where I think you could make a claim that any one of these guys could come away the victor in this and end up with that belt. Who do you have winning?
See, do you quickly take the belt off of Jeff Hardy? That's the idea, but it wouldn't be AJ Styles. If he does lose, it would be to Sami Zayn. Am I willing yet to give him the title? I don't think so. I think this is the match that Jeff Hardy made famous, so you can't take the belt off. That'd be cold-blooded. I'm thinking Jeff Hardy retains.
See, I was in lockstep with you, right? So it's like this is one of those matches where Sami Zayn could totally win it and stake his claim to being the Intercontinental Champ and never actually losing it. And then you've got AJ Styles, who we both agree you never pin a loss on AJ Styles until AJ Styles actually loses that match, right? But this is the match that Jeff Hardy made famous. This is a ladders match. I think Jeff Hardy shines in this match, and I think he retains his title. Now, Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. I've got Bobby Lashley winning this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely, baby. The Hurt Business got to stay strong. Bobby Lashley retains.
Now, in a weird twist, Zelina Vega, she said she wanted to become a wrestler again. She gets a win over Mickie James. She will challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. Who do you have winning this one? I feel like this one is easy peasy.
Asuka, 100%.
Yeah, I've got Asuka as well. I like Zelina Vega. I think Zelina Vega is great. I think she's got an awesome look. I don't know if she has the in-ring capabilities to really carry that strap, and that's the problem. Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza, who... Didn't they just recently break up? I mean, that's what I thought. I'm not sure. I'm going Street Profits in this one. They're going to retain their tag team championships.
Okay, I can make it. I make an argument for Andrade and Angel Garza, but the Street Profits are doing such a good job. So I'll make it all about one match, baby. The Riot Squad will get me to the victory, baby. That's what I need. So I'm going with the Street Profits.
All right, so just to review, we basically are in lockstep on all matches except for the one. And that is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Yes. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus the Riot Squad. I've got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler winning that match. You've got the Riot Squad winning it. In a quick rundown, we both have Roman Reigns retaining his Universal Championship. We both have Drew McIntyre winning an ambulance match to retain his WWE Championship. We both have Bayley beating Nikki Cross to retain her SmackDown Women's Championship. You know what? I'm going to make this fun. I'm going to change mine to Nikki Cross.
Okay.
And I could cost myself everything here. But thinking about this, remember, Sasha Banks is a wild card here. And Sasha Banks could play a role in this match and cost Bayley this match. So I'm going to go Nikki Cross. And maybe we get a nice little revamp for Nikki Cross here. And this is where they start it. I don't know if this is smart. I don't know if this is dumb. We'll find out.
Give it a go.
So I made a quick change, just thinking on the fly really quick here. We've got the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro retaining over Lucha House Party. We both have Jeff Hardy beating AJ Styles and Sami Zayn in a triple threat ladder match. We both have Bobby Lashley retaining over Apollo Crews in the United States Championship match. We both have Asuka making short work of Zelina Vega in the Raw Women's Championship match. And the Street Profits retaining over a disgruntled group in Andrade and Angel Garza in the Raw Tag Team Championship match that we've seen 1,001 times. So just to recap real fast, you have a 5-point lead. I need to make some noise this week. And I probably just shot myself in the foot with that Nikki Cross pick. So we'll see what happens.
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. What made your list this week's, cuz?
Per Paul Davis of WrestlingNews.co, Roman Reigns' heel turn will include wrestling shirtless and entering the ring with new theme music. According to Davis, Reigns had a Zoom call with fans and revealed some other interesting details, including a Mafia-style storyline. He also said he plans to keep wrestling in his pants. Now, the new music will not drop until the time is right in the storyline. So I'm assuming after he beats Jey Uso, his new music will hit. And that's per Davis. It's anticipated this will happen this weekend at Clash of Champions. In an interview with Harman Garcia on his YouTube channel, The Rock said a WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns would make sense. The 48-year-old has not actually wrestled a full-fledged match since losing to John Cena at WrestleMania 29. He briefly squashed Eric Rowan at WrestleMania 32 in the fastest match in WrestleMania history, but that amounted to little more than him delivering a rock bottom. In the match with Cena, The Rock was hurt. He ended up, I think he tore his pec in that match. And then that actually delayed some of his filming. And that was part of the reason why he quietly stepped away, because with all of his movies going on, he can't afford to delay any of his filming. Again, that cuts into his bottom line and puts everything off. So also after this, a lot of the movie companies said, if you are a former wrestler, you can't actually go back and wrestle while you're filming a movie for us, because it puts everything behind schedule. Now, the rivalry between Jim Cornette and AEW may have reached a new level as Cornette's lawyers hit the promotion with a cease and desist order. Now, this comes off of the back of Joey Janella and Sonny Kiss claiming that they had permission to use the team name, the new Midnight Express. The Midnight Express is, of course, the name of the team Cornette managed in the 1980s of Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey, which he highly regards as one of the best of all time. Responding to Janella's tweet about the apparent new name, Cornette's lawyer Stephen New said that he has sent cease and desist paperwork to Mega Farkix, who is the chief legal counsel of AEW. Mind you, the renaming of this team might not be completely legitimate. This might just be an attempt to troll Jim Cornette. There is a lot of beef with a lot of the guys in AEW and Jim Cornette. Now, Lance Archer took to Twitter on Wednesday to announce he has come in contact with somebody with COVID-19. Thus, he is quarantining. So you won't see Lance Archer for a couple of weeks as just safety precautions. He stays away. We'll kind of monitor his status and how he's doing as the weeks unfold. Joseph Laurinaitis, best known by the professional wrestling moniker Road Warrior Animal, has died at the age of 60. The announcement was made Wednesday on Twitter by his family. He is a two-time WWF Tag Team Champion and earned induction to WWE's Hall of Fame along with Paul Ellering and his tag partner Hawk as part of its 2011 class. So very sad news there that broke on Wednesday.
Man.
And that's it for this week's wrestling news and notes, brother.
Make sure to follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSCRLZ. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. I can't wait to see Clash of Champions. Good stuff, sir. I look forward to our next broadcast next week.
Sounds good, man.